everybody to our 4K preview night, and we're very excited to have you here with us. I wanted to let you know that you might come up with some questions. I invite you to jot those down or even drop them in our chat, and I'll keep an eye on that. Christy is going to be presenting her screen, so she won't see the chat, but I'll try to, if it's with a group of questions, keep that, or we'll have some time, hopefully at the end, to answer some questions, and we'll work through it that way. I also wanted you to know that there will be future communications where we'll be answering some of those questions as well. There will be, so let's jump into the facilitation. If you could keep your microphones muted for now. And again, the camera, it is fine for you to have that on or off. Questions that arrive during the meeting should be entered in the chat. And even though there's that raise hand on the Google Meet, we are going to instead use our chat feature, so we'll monitor it that way. So let's get started. We want to welcome you to Southwood Glen, and we appreciate you joining us and are so happy to welcome a new class of 4K students. This is also an exciting time for your family as your child begins their educational journey. Our district mission and values in Franklin Public Schools, we inspire personal success through learning experiences that focus on student needs and active partnerships with families and community. Our vision is embracing the belief that all children will learn. Franklin Public Schools is committed to excellence in student achievement and continuous improvement. And you'll see our values along the side: equity, personal growth, innovation, stewardship, and well-being. Our 4K program, a quality 4K kindergarten program in Franklin Public Schools, will add benefit to the educational experience of children and provide the foundation of college, career, and life-ready skills. The 4K program in Franklin Public Schools will provide an age-appropriate academic and social-emotional experience to prepare students for 5-year-old kindergarten and beyond. The 4K Gentle Start includes literacy, math, and most importantly, play workshop. Play gives children a chance to practice what they are learning. Please watch this short video from the Department of Public Instruction to learn about that importance of play.
My name is Sheila Briggs, and I work for the Department of Public Instruction, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit about play today. The department's responsibility is making sure that we select standards that all of our schools use to articulate what we want students to know and be able to do. So in general, we don't really get involved with how students are taught in the field. That's really up to the local teachers and school districts. But when you look at the standards for the Wisconsin Model Early Learning Standards, we say it right in the forefront. We've got our guiding principles listed, and one of them is that children learn best through play. But I find that it often gets lost in translation. So the department says children learn best through play, and we have these standards that we'd like you to meet, and we want students to be prepared to do well on the third grade assessment. But what people hear is we want students to do well on the third grade assessment, and so we don't have time to let students play. Well, that's really the exact opposite of what we're going for. We really want is for you to be teaching kids the way that we know that they learn best. And with young kids, we know that is through play.
In play, children use incredibly complex cognitive maneuvers, like focusing, shifting attention, like negotiating power and control, like setting rules and changing rules and revising rules in real time, articulating and communicating. All of these functions activate the prefrontal cortex of the brain, which is the seat of critical thinking and the place in which the executive functions of the brain are developing. Play is the most powerful setup for learning in young children, bar none. Research has shown very clearly that while playing, children can solve more complex problems than they can when given instructions top down. And recent research has also shown that children are able to articulate incredibly complex grammatical constructions while during imaginary free play. Things like the future tense, how about we try, such and such, are incredibly complicated and help children to gain in articulation skills. In a recent study, English language learners that were involved in imaginative free play on a daily basis showed an increase in vocabulary significantly above children that were not involved in this kind of imaginative free play. Children who play often are happier, they're more engaged and focused in school, they are more articulate and more collaborative, they show better self-regulation scores and better academic achievement.
For those of you that aren't familiar with early childhood education and what it means to have kids play, I'm going to tell you right now that it doesn't mean that the teacher doesn't do anything and that they just sit there while kids show up and do whatever they want each day. In fact, setting up an early childhood environment so that students learn through play is probably more complex than having them sit in desks and doing very teacher-directed activities. You have to set up the materials in the environment, and you have to make sure that there are opportunities for students to be able to dig in and learn the things that are in the standards. So for example, you might have a grocery store set up in the play area, and students are learning math because they're calculating the prices, they're learning how to cooperate by working with one another, they're developing their language skills as they talk to the cashier. And the teacher's role is really important because they need to be watching and observing and writing down the things that students are doing well and the things that they're still struggling. And that's what assessment looks like in early childhood. So if you're hearing that young children shouldn't be playing or that we don't have time to have young children playing, I can tell you that you're not hearing it from the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction.
Okay, I am happy to introduce our 4K teacher.
My name is Sheila Briggs, and I work for the Department of Public.
You got it, Christy? Christy, I also muted you because of how the video was playing. So just unmute yourself. But I'm happy to introduce Mrs. Ruffing, our 4K teacher at Southwood Glen. She is a teacher leader on our 4K team and comes with years of 5-year-old kindergarten experience, which give her a deep understanding of the foundation needed for the next steps of learning. So please, Mrs. Ruffing.
Hello, I hope you can all hear me now. And now I can't click the slides.
We can hear you, Christy.
You can hear me. I can't click the slides for some reason. I'm sorry.
I don't know.
Oh, wait, there
you go.
Something's happening. Are you in control now?
I'm not.
Okay. Hi. I'm actually much better at teaching 4K than I am at running a Google Meet. But my name's Christy Ruffing, and I am the 4K teacher at Southwood Glen, and I'm so excited to be your child's teacher this year. I absolutely love to teach 4K, and it's actually my favorite grade. I grew up in Franklin, so being able to teach in this community is very special to me. And it's so rewarding to be able to be in a district where I actually went to school. It taught me so much academically, professionally, and personally. I've spent my entire career teaching 4K, kindergarten, and first grade in Franklin Public Schools. So I love the enthusiasm and excitement young children bring to learning, and I believe all children can learn. It's just not always the same way or at the same time. And managing my class is done through relationships. I believe that each child has a story, a voice, and a passion, and everyone needs to feel loved and cared for in my classroom. So I am excited to welcome your family to our classroom. This is very weird, but it's like not letting, oh wait, maybe I can do this. Oh, there, I figured it out. Debbie Walzak is my teaching assistant, and she has also been in the district for quite a while. The sweetest, most caring person ever, and the kids just adore her. Some days I feel like we literally are married. Like, we just finish each other's sentences. We respond to the kids in the same way. We don't even need to ask each other, well, can they do this or can they do that? Because we know what the answer will always be. So it's kind of fun to work with somebody who has the same vision for learning and kids that you do. So she's a really sweet person, and the kids love her. 4K start and end time. So we have 2 sessions, and I'm not sure if you've been notified yet of your session or if that's still coming out. So we have our morning session and it starts at 9:10. And we usually say like you can start dropping off your children at 9 o'clock, a little bit after. The afternoon session, they usually drop off at 1 o'clock, and I'm pretty prompt about getting out there at 1 o'clock, and we'll be like actually in the classroom working on stuff by 1:10. So if your child is taking the bus, that's usually right at 1 o'clock, and so any drop-offs will come at that time as well. And then our dismissal times are also listed there. When you, in the fall, I will give you more information about like the pickups and things like that as it applies to your child's session. But just real briefly, the morning session, we walk all the children out to the front of the school, and the car riders, the cars will just park right behind the bus, and then we just let you go because it's only a small number of children. At the end of the day, that's a whole different process because the whole entire school is dismissing at that same time. So when that time comes, I will definitely keep you informed. Drop off and pick up, your child's safety is our top priority. So your little one will always be with a staff member. It's me or Mrs. Walzak. I actually can't think of anyone else. Sometimes the kindergarten teachers will help. Like if we have a little crew of walkers this year whose parents pick them up and walk home. So they go down by the kindergarten teachers, but they're always with a staff member at all times. Let's see. Our daily activities. I am a very routine person, so my daily schedule flows the exact same way every day. And I always say, we do the exact same schedule of the day every day, but some things might not be as long. So even if it's a rainy day, we will still go out for outdoor play. We have a really nice little awning. We might go out for 5 minutes and just draw a sidewalk chalk, or literally run in the rain for, 3 minutes just to have fun and then come in. But in their brain, they've checked off that, oh, we had outdoor play. So our daily schedule, I listed it there, but I have some other slides that'll kind of go through some of our things. So our question of the day, the first thing that students when they come in, is they hang up their backpacks and their jackets, so they have a special folder, and then they answer a question of the day. And this is literally the highlight of not only them, but a lot of their siblings, families will ask when they come home from school, oh, what was the question of the day? And it's really cute to hear the explanations of why they say they like something or don't like something. Recently, a question was, do you like the earth? And somebody said no, and Mrs. Walzak and I were both kind of like, oh, how can you not like the earth? But then we found out they didn't like the earth when people threw garbage on it and made it messy. So that made them sad. So sometimes you got to ask that follow-up question to be like, oh, why don't you like that? It's kind of cute. And it also, literally, they never miss this stop in the morning, where when I taught first grade or kindergarten and they had to check in for lunch, kids would forget that all the time, but I think because this is so centered around them, they never forget it. After they do that, we hop into table time. So each of the tables in the classroom is set up with a different activity. They generally are fine motor focused and open-ended. So it's not going to be like a worksheet or something where they have to finish that thing in this amount of time. It's open-ended. This one in particular was a bunch of materials, and they were making snowflakes. And so there's just lots of loose parts and things that they could explore and play with. Social emotional learning is also covered throughout the entire day. So during play workshop, developing social skills, saying please and thank you, taking care of yourself, checking on your friends if somebody falls down outside or in the classroom gets hurt, we always say, are you okay? That's the first thing that we work on, is checking on our friends. Are they okay? Before we, find out or say you're sorry or solve what the problem was. It's always, well, someone's crying. Did you check on them? Did you ask if they're okay? And that means not just checking that they're okay physically, but how is their heart? Like, are they feeling okay? Why are their feelings hurt? We work on being a friend, independence and self-help skills. And this is my little sweetie from last year before COVID. And we had little water pitchers, and the helpers of the day got to pass them out, and then they would serve themselves in Dixie cups. So someday we might get back to that, but that was a sweet little day. Snack. Every day we also have snack in our classroom, and Franklin Public Schools has a pretty strict snack guideline for all students, K, I believe, through 12, but it's probably mostly managed K through 8. It has to be a fresh fruit, a vegetable, meat, cheese, or yogurt. And this is all for safety of all of our students. Many students have allergies these days, and we want to just ensure that each student in our school is safe. And so it's one of those things that a lot of parents have said to me, like, oh my goodness, we can't send granola bars or fish crackers. But what happens is your children see other children having something, and then they go home and they're like, Mom, can I have raspberries for my snack? Or Mom, can I have this? And this little girl is in my class this year, and one day she just brought a big red bell pepper and ate it like an apple. So I thought that was pretty cute and a pretty creative snack. So let's see, I took pictures one day of just some random containers of what they were bringing. I highly recommend these little two-sided containers. It holds like the perfect amount for a 4K child for their snack. But pickles are super popular. I think it's hilarious. And then there's always the, strawberries and oranges, or some children will bring like a yogurt. String cheese is really popular, salami, all kinds of, things like that. But I like the two-sided container because you can put just two little things in there, and it's the perfect amount for their little belly to keep them going. Our learning intentions, we use a workshop model and the Wisconsin Early Learning Standards, and our 4K curriculum is designed to meet children where they are and move them developmentally on a developmentally appropriate path of progress. And so I received a question from a parent from my incoming class coming up, and they said, is there a certain amount of things, or like a standard of what kids need to know before they come to 4K? And they don't need to have any specific skills or rote knowledge or anything to come here. So we take them from where they're at, and no matter where they start out in 4K, they move forward and grow so much over the course of the year. Children they learn through themes, and we incorporate the following domains of social emotional learning, literacy, math, physical development, and approaches to learning. I probably read that wrong, but all right. So literacy and 4K, literacy pretty much encompasses our whole day. It starts, just from the morning when they walk in and they do the question of the day, right there, that's literacy. They're using their skills of inferring and looking at what the question is. And we talk about the letters, being able to read yes and no, being able to recognize their own name and put it on which side. And another thing that happens is they learn to read their friends' names through that. We had a little guy this year who we found out that he could read every single person's name in our whole class in October. And it was because of question of the day, because he knew which friends, stars were whose. Our literacy in our classroom, there's a group of little boys there reading those are wordless picture books. And my main goal is to just make them fall in love with books. So I have the best books in this classroom. They love acting out the stories, like the 3 little pigs on the bottom. We made those little scenery, and then they can act out the stories themselves. That was during play workshop. So a lot of these things they can just take out and go and do. That top picture on the right actually was today, and that is a book. It's it has animals in it, and every page has the animals doing something. And so this was during our book time, and they were acting out every animal. So this was a penguin. They were acting like penguins in this picture. So book time in my class is noisy, and we have a lot of fun. I always tell them, like, I love books and I want you to be a book lover too. Math, we use the Eureka Math curriculum. So if you have students who are already in Franklin Public Schools, they're using Eureka Math. And this was my first year really tackling it from beginning to end. and it's amazing. Last year, I wasn't too sure because I guess I just didn't know enough about it. And now after going through the whole curriculum this year, it's what my kids have learned this year is astounding in my opinion. Counting, patterning, shapes, number ID. We just did a unit on they don't learn to actually write the numbers until like April. And it was completely evident why, because almost every child in my both classes can write 1 through 5 beautifully. So I think that the research behind their curriculum and the fact that we're using it K4 and on is really an asset to our little guys when they get to K5. Music and movement. We do a lot of that in here. I love singing, and not that I could like record an album, but I do sing a lot in here. And I think that's because the research really supports young children having music in their life, just for things like rhyming, the rhythm, the repetition of songs, being able to hear the sounds at the beginning. We do a lot with rhythm sticks. We have dance ribbons. And then the best thing is on Friday, we have a dance party every Friday. It's like 5 minutes long, and it's literally something they look forward to all week. That on Wednesday when we're doing our morning meeting, someone will say, dance parties in 2 days or dance party. And so for me, I think it's exciting to have that on our calendar because it gives kids a reason to count. It gives them a reason to know how many more days until our dance party, how many more days until our show and tell day. And I just think that giving them a reason to come back every day and making things fun for them is why they love school. And you want to really instill that now when they're little. So these guys are silly. Sensory experiences. This is the kind of stuff that as a parent or a caregiver, you would never do at your house. But for some reason, I like to do it with like 15 kids all at once. So shaving cream, outside, we took our water table outside and did stuff in there. We do lots of slime. I say things like, let's get messy. We do lots of ooey gooey, and it's really kind of cute because at the beginning of the year, they're pretty hesitant, most kids. And by now, like if I say we're going to do something that's going to be really messy, they're all in.
Okay, so I think we've lost Christy here for a minute. I'm going to just pause the recording, and I'm going to mute myself and try calling her. I apologize. I'm going to run down to her room and just see if I can help her. If she can. Oh, here you are, Christy. Okay, there you go.
Was I like, how long was I not on?
Enough for me to give a quick phone call to you. And then
where was I? I don't even know what happened.
You had just finished with sensory experiences.
Oh, good. Okay.
Talking about that.
Okay. I was like, okay. It just booted me off. I didn't do anything. Okay, so sensory. Okay, sensory. Oh, so I wasn't that far off. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, so art experiences in my classroom, there's really, I kind of focus on 3 different things. The first type of art I like to do is process art. So it's more just kids exploring with whatever materials we have out. So process art might be using a paper copy lid and putting marbles and paint in it, where they just creating the art is more just the experience of using the materials. We also have an art easel in our classroom, so children are allowed to go to the art easel and create and design whatever they would like. And then I also do what I call crafts or craftivity. And those are projects that have a specific way they're supposed to look. So we made tractors this week. They were out of shapes, and it helps develop their visual and perceptual skills to be able to look at how I built my tractor, and they have to match up their shapes and things to make it look like mine. So another thing that's really great for is when they get to recognizing letters, that they're able to differentiate between the way things look and remember and be able to redo that themselves. Art experiences develop their fine motor skills. Just everything that they do in art starts refining their motor skills to get down to where they can hold a pencil and do all that writing and things they need to do in their future education. It also develops their language. Through art, they learn about shapes and colors and different techniques and different materials that they might not have used before. It involves decision making, like, well, what color paint should I use for this? Or should I use markers or crayons? Or, well, I didn't like the way that turned out. I'm going to change that and turn it into a bridge instead of what they originally planned. It also brings cultural awareness. And I think one of the things I really strive to do is bring in lots of different artists through our literature and things like that. And then we will use their techniques to do art in our classroom.
Christy, could you please reshare the presentation? That part we're not seeing.
Okay.
We hear you, but we don't see that.
Okay.
And then it looks like you were talking from slide 26.
Okay.
If you get that back up.
This is a lot better in person. Sorry. Okay, can you see the presentation?
Yes.
And
we can hear you. Everything is good.
That's great. That's fantastic. All right, jumping into outdoor play, Southwood Glen has the best playground for our 4K and kindergarten students. We have a sandbox. This is a picture of a nature hike that we took in the fall. And then our PTA actually just funded outdoor blocks and a mud kitchen for us outside. So those are amazing for young kids because it's another place for them to get messy and to plan and to collaborate with their friends. They call that concentrated learning too. Like when you're working in the mud kitchen, little Jade in the middle there, it's concentrated learning. She has her plan. She's making a cake. You can see there's little leaves sticking out. When they make cupcakes, so we've seen students that are taking like one pine needle and place it in the top of each cupcake. So all those experiences where they're replicating things that they may have seen at their house or they may have seen on a show, and now they get to try it out on their own outside with no restrictions. Play workshop, another super exciting time of our day. Every month we have different themes, and so during play workshop I have a discovery center and we usually rotate that area into different themes. So here we have, when we learned about dinosaurs, we have our construction theme. These boys over here, oh, this was during fire safety, and they were building a little firehouse and they have all their trucks and everything set up. During play, risk-taking is super important. Play means taking risks, trying out new things that you've never tried, and they learn so much in the process. This was during our construction unit. We had a workbench with wood and nails and real hammers, and the concentration and the focus of each and every one of them as they went over there. And yes, like a couple kids did smush their thumb, and they went back the next day. It hurt for a little bit, but I think it's things like that that teach them, being careful, but also taking a risk. And this is one of my little guys from this year and was super proud of his little face that he made on his board. So let's see. Themes throughout the year. We actually have 5 different themes. They last about 2 months long each. So making friends is at the very beginning of the year, and that's when we, I'm going to just pull up here. Okay, so we work on their names, their friends' names, introducing all the new toys, all the places in our school. And we also work on All About Me, favorite colors, favorite foods, the world around me. Actually, let me see if I press, oh no. So the world around me is the fire station, grocery store is a really fun thing that we do for a month in there. Our next unit is building up. So that's in December, and we work on construction and balls and ramps. And so there's lots of building, lots of different things, building snowmen, building gingerbread houses, building just construction site type things, building bridges. We work on all those things. And then when we come back in January, we jump into digging down, which is dinosaurs and fossils. In February and March, it is kindness counts, and we do pet shop, being kind to our friends, learning what it means to be kind. This year we did a community outreach project, and we made Valentines for Elizabeth residents, and got pictures back from them, from the residents, that were just so excited to have a little art project from the 4K kids. And then coming into spring, we have our unit called Watch Me Grow. We first start out with eggs and birds, and then we roll into farm, and then plants and gardens, and then we'll go into insects and honeybees in June. So, let's see. Ways to help your student at home. I say the number one thing that you can do to help your student at home is to really help them develop that I can do attitude. One of the language phrases that I love to use is, I can't do this yet. And I think just giving the kids that idea that, you know what, this might be tricky right now. You can't do it yet, but we can help you and get you to be able to do it. So encouraging independent dressing, carrying their own items when you go places, helping with household chores, like just bringing their own dishes to the sink, cleaning up their belongings, and then letting them make choices you can live with, which that is one thing that is a really good parenting skill to develop. And what that means is basically, if you want them to put on some clothes to go somewhere, do you want them to just have perfectly matching clothes? Are you okay with them kind of mismatched as long as they got dressed? So also, like for dinner, maybe you might give two choices. Would you rather have this or this? That way you're giving two options that you are okay with, but you're also giving them some choice and buy-in into what they're going to eat for dinner. So I also think that language really helps. And so some of the language that I use in the classroom that is really great to use at home is things like, I'll watch you try. Like if they want me to zip their coat, that's usually the first stumbling block that we come to in the fall, is all the kids that can't zip their coats. It's very common. And so I always say, I'll watch you try. And then I verbally walk them through every step. And within days, they can usually get it on their own. So the idea is that as the adult, we're not always just jumping in immediately to save the day, that we're giving them tips and ideas on how they can do it and kind of pumping them up a little bit. Or I say, oh, let's try this together. I'll show you, then you try. So like with the coat zipper again, I would show them, but then I would undo it immediately and say, now you try. Wow, you really worked hard on that. I can see your fingers getting stronger. I bet next time you'll be able to do it all by yourself. So that's another thing too, like with opening containers, like a yogurt container or string cheese. Those are all items that kids can open on their own, but we need to give them opportunities to try it and tips on how to do it themselves. Let's see, developing language skills. That's something that we do a lot in school and at home too. Asking questions when you read a story. Do you think he would rather do this or that? Or how do you think he's feeling? Why do you think she looks so mad? Ask what they find most interesting when you go somewhere. I just recently saw a children's book. It was called 10 Beautiful Things. And so no matter what the situation was, like if they were taking a walk, they would say, let's find 10 beautiful things. And so while they were walking, they would find something beautiful in the environment. And I think it's just teaches kids, to look for the unexpected beauty in things. And I think that's something too that creates that conversation between you and your child. Like, even if you're cleaning their bedroom, let's find 10 beautiful things. Well, you know, we have more room on our bookshelf now because we put all our books straight. That's beautiful. Let's see. And then have turn-taking conversations where a lot of times children that come to 4K, they're used to either just being told things and being expected to do it, or telling someone else something and then it just happens. So one of the things that we practice in here is we call them turn and talk. So they would turn and look at their friend, and then I might say, tell what you ate for breakfast today. And so then one of them would say, I ate pancakes for breakfast. And then the other friend would have to comment back to them like, oh, is pancakes your favorite thing for breakfast? Or did you have anything else? And then having that give and take in a conversation is really important. Fine motor skills. Cutting with the scissors is amazing for fine motor. Gluing with glue sticks and glue bottles. Using Play-Doh. We use small crayons in here, or we break them because it helps kids to really develop that pincher grasp that they need for writing. And then building with blocks and Legos. The other thing that helps develop fine motor skills, believe it or not, is gross motor skills. So going outside and playing on the monkey bars and climbing on the jungle gym, doing bear crawls, all those types of things strengthen their finger muscles as well. So another way to develop their fine motor is to work on gross motor. Exploring math concepts, setting the table, counting out snack items, making observations, like just simple things like, you know, ooh, can you find a car that's bigger than that car when you're walking through a parking lot? Or if you are, you know, taking a walk, do you think it's more steps to go to the mailbox, or is it more steps to go to the fire hydrant? Just always incorporating that use of, you know, learning and counting and language in their day. Additional information. Oh, thank you for attending. We look forward to seeing you in the fall, and our Getting to Know You conference days are September 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. So on one of those days, you will come with your child to school for a short conference, and then they get to see the classroom. It's the best way for me to meet each and every family and kind of hear about your child, hear about, you know, what they like and what they don't like and what you're excited for them for their start to school. There's a sign up that gets sent out in August, and then you get to sign up for the day and the time. So 4K technically doesn't start until September 6th for the kids. So they have siblings. The siblings will come those first 3 days on like a staggered start, but then everybody is all together on September 6th, and that's our first day for 4K. So after this presentation is complete, oh, if you have questions, there's a little.
So they're not going to have that. I think if you have questions right now and you want to add them to the link, otherwise, I believe there will be a follow-up survey, and with that, there will be an area for questions. From that, we'll collect questions not just from Southwood Glen, but there's kind of a district collection of questions, and then there will be a mailing that goes out that kind of addresses any of those. Anytime, though, feel free to reach out to either me or to Christy, and we would be happy to answer any of those questions. And to do that, I think you'll find me on the web page. I think Christy, you are as well, right?
Mm-hmm. I am.
Does anybody have any questions? You want to drop something in the chat? Otherwise,
if that's Labor Day, that's not the first. Oh, you're right. That's not the first day. It's the 7th. It's the 7th. I just counted past the weekend, not even thinking that was Labor Day. Sorry.
So does that mean their first day is the 6th, Christy, or the 7th?
It's the day after Labor Day.
Okay.
So if Labor Day is the 6th, then it will be the 7th.
Okay.
So I won't be here on the 6th.
Okay. Well, it doesn't look like we have any questions immediately. Again, feel free to either give me a phone call or an email. Supplies list in August. That's a great question. Christy?
That is possibly already available. I've already made it. And so on our district website, it might not be updated yet, but by June, that will be on the district website. And if you go to the district website, and then on there will be a link for Southwood Glen. And then in Southwood Glen, there is a parent area that will have the supply list.
And another question is, can we get a copy of the presentation? Yes. I'm trying to think of how that's being shared right now.
You know what? I'm not sure. I think, do you want like a recorded copy or a paper copy? I would.
A recorded copy, I think.
Recorded. I think the district will be putting that link out for families that weren't able to attend, or even if you were able to attend, just because I'm sure there's many families that aren't here tonight that would like to see.
I can connect with Chad Kafka about that.
Okay.
That way, if there's a family member here tonight and somebody else wants to see it in their family, they could see it. Okay. Well, again, thank you so much for taking some time to join us tonight. We are excited and really can't wait to meet your child and your family and start their educational journey together. So thanks again, everybody.
Thank you. And feel free to reach out. You can direct email me too if you have questions. It's just Christy.Ruffing and then at franklin.k12wi.us. But it's on the district website as well. But feel free to reach out to me personally and I will answer any questions that you have. So, all right.
Great. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Have
Bye.
a good night.